You guys are in for a treat. I'd love to hear. I mean, we're looking at probably 60 today, but Josh is joining us from San Diego, and poor guy, right? Tell us about the weather and the average price point again.
Uh, the average price point's around 900 and the average weather's, 72 degrees. And, it's got its own challenges as well, but we're super blessed for sure.
That is amazing. That is
Yeah.
awesome. Awesome. Well, you guys, I'm so excited that you're all here. Hey, Courtney, it's good to see you. Daniel, awesome. Hey, Joan and Treva and Don.
Matthew,
Guys, we got some powerhouses in the room. You
John
guys,
Yoakum.
yeah, Don Yoakum, there he is. Awesome. Um, okay, and yeah, Mr. Tom Daves, he was just telling me, he has to wear his sunglasses because his future is so bright. Like, is that
Heyo.
Gotta wear shades.
wear the shades?
Rock and roll.
I know, I love it. We guys, welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be watching the chat box. You guys are in for a treat today. Josh Pono is joining us from San Diego. I got to tell you a little bit about, I got to brag on him because he probably won't brag on himself. But he actually was a consultant for companies like Boomtown, KV Core, helping to build an effective CRM. So if someone is qualified to talk about automation, it's Josh. And he actually sold in his first year, he sold 33 homes, and he's actually built his team. Recently went from 58 million in production to 140 million in 2 years, you guys. So
Woo!
if you want to add business to your or transactions to your business and you want to buy back at least 5 hours, Josh, is that 5 hours a week?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 hours a week. So in other words, get more business and not and spend less time doing it. You want to take some notes on this. I'm gonna be watching the chat and you talk about the king of automation. That's what I started to think about when I read Josh's bio. So welcome the king of automation. Josh, take it over. Guys,
Uh,
give us some
Thank you.
thoughts, questions on the chat box as we go, and I'll be monitoring that.
Yeah. Thanks for all that. King of automation. I don't know all about that. I know that, I've failed. I was definitely, so, I came into real estate. I've been in real estate for about 17 years. In the first 8 years, I did nothing but work for all the tech companies, Boomtown, KV Core, Inside Real Estate. I still do consulting for Lofty, and the average person fails at that job in 90 days. And my job for most of the time was to cold call real estate agents and help them with their marketing. And at Boomtown, I was the senior sales executive, and so I got to spend time with all the best companies across the country. People doing 500 sales a year, 1,000, and really, I was just a like, hey, what's the bottleneck? What's the issue? What's the problem? And then after cold calling real estate agents for 8 years, I was like, man, I swear I can't handle one more outbound cold call to a real estate agent talking about leads. I got to go. And I also found out that software companies, they pay 3% on the gross volume of sales. And one day I was like, wait a minute, I'm teaching agents how to generate leads and close leads, and they get 3%, except for they're not selling software, they're selling real estate. So I got to make a change. And so, I did 200 deals in my first 5 years. Most of the stuff was outbound sales. And so I also lived the life where, I did 50 deals in 2020, and I was really burnt out and hit the wall. And so I had to rebuild my business because I was like, nobody talks about how bad it is to be a successful agent, right? It's like, oh, it's this amazing thing. You have all this money, you have all this freedom. And it's like, no, you don't. You trade your 40-hour a week job for 100 hours a week, and you feel like just absolute garbage because you're that dad that is like at the hockey game and you got to take a call because everything relies on you. And so I went through a little bit of an identity crisis. I was like, I should do luxury real estate. That's my solution. And I got recruited by the Altman brothers from Million Dollar Listing LA. They wanted to expand to San Diego. And it just wasn't for me. I'm a teacher. I'm a student, and I love helping people. It goes back to my roots. I opened up my own brokerage and just started just getting the first 3 years dialed in. So, here's what I'm gonna, can I share my screen, Jackie?
Yes, you should be able to.
Yeah,
All right, let me do this. Let me share here. Let's see. It's not letting me. There we go. Share. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
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 All right, so for me, it's like, okay, I want to buy back time and I want to increase production without working more, right? Like people see me and they're like, this guy's a hard worker. I'm actually really lazy. I don't want to do manual tasks. I don't want to work 7 days a week. I think the 24/7 agent is a really bad thing. And so, what I've recognized is most agents and teams and brokerages, they don't fail from like a lack of leads, money, or knowledge. They fail because there's too many critical activities and just not enough time in the day. And so today is all about installing an automatic week in your business. Um, where you're at right now and where we're going is like, I look at a lot of people that are like, I'm burned out. I'm like, you're not burned out. You're just overloaded. You've got too many small things pulling you a million different ways. And you're already doing a ton of work, but there's just too little leverage. So today I'm going to expose a couple different places where here's 3 places that agents, teams, brokerages were losing time and money. I'm going to show you some very simple solutions that you can put inside of your business right now and automate, and it'll buy you back a bunch of time. And I'll give you a couple next steps of like, hey, if this is hitting home with you and you just want to take this from, I'm not a huge conference fan. I don't like getting 30,000 ideas and then masterminding for a week and a half of what we're going to do, and then nothing gets done because we're so busy doing everything else. I'm like, I want to grab something and run with it. And so if you guys want to do that, I'll have some, hey, this is an easy next step so you can just start to implement. And I'm going to skip this screen, but I really was the 24/7 agent. I was the guy that was hopping around, driving here. I never said no to business. I thought it was funny when people would only take open houses in certain neighborhoods. Like if they said they wanted to work with me and it was physically possible for me to do it, I did it. And my bottleneck wasn't grit or leads, it was all the systems around it. And this is the master class that I wish I had years earlier. You don't have a lead problem. Income is a lagging indicator of the previous month's systems. Agents drown into dues, not starve for opportunities. And in tougher markets, the ones with the systems win. Right. And, as much as real estate, there's always a deal being done and the people that are active are selling homes. It's a tougher market than when there was FOMO on missing out on interest rates and FOMO missing out on equity because houses were jumping. We're coming off the back of the greatest time in ever to sell real estate, right? And so there also is some systematic things that we've got to come to terms with. It's a little bit tougher for sure, but that doesn't mean we can't win. And in fact, I see it as a massive amount of opportunity because the agents that install systems, they can do more and have more of their time. And you can't outwork leverage. You just can't, right? If we go on a race and I say, hey, I'm gonna let you go first. We're gonna do a mile. I'm gonna give you a 3-minute head start and you start running, but I have a bike. I'm gonna win. And if I give you that bike and give you the same 3-minute head start and I hop in a car, I'm gonna win. And if I give you the car and I give you a head start, but I've got a jet, I'm gonna win, right? And so at some point, you just can't outwork leverage. You just can't, right? And so here's the 3 pillars that need to run most real estate agents' businesses. And you may have pieces of this. You may be looking to implement it. You may say, man, I could really, really add some stuff. But whether you're a team and looking to recruit agents, whether you're an agent, these are the foundations of like, this is what we build on with everybody. Whether you're a single agent, top producing agent, it's like we put these systems and these foundations in place. And then when you have the extra time, you decide what's next. And usually it's not, if you study the top real estate teams, they don't have 17 different lead sources. They usually dominate 2, right? They don't go wide, they go deep. Okay. Sphere of influence and referral machine, 90% of everybody is finding their next realtor through somebody they already know. Most of our businesses are built off of referral. We can install a machine that constantly keeps that growing 24/7 because the game of content consumption has changed. And that's the first place we start because in a shifting market, that's the one that's going to take care of you. There's the lead nurture machine. We come across lead opportunities all the time, every single day. We do open houses. We have tons of lead dropping in our database. We give them some calls. They don't follow up. Something else comes up and we move on. And last but not least, content and distribution, because, content is now changing to where, it's not the same. People now need to digest 7 hours of content. If you have a cold lead, somebody who saw your content for the first time, they now have to digest 7 hours before you start to build trust and authority and mind share. Okay. Past clients, they quietly forget that we're in business, right? We're going around and we think that they got life going on. They quietly forget about us. And, oftentimes we don't have consistent emails. We don't have text messages. We don't have postcards. We don't have invites. The silence that we have inside of our database is the most expensive time saver in real estate. you know, all you really need, you don't got to overcomplicate this, right? It's just a simple automatic sphere rhythm, right? So one monthly postcard, there's numerous programs out there that you can integrate with KV Core, integrate with Lofty, and they have pre-built templates. Good enough is better than perfect, right? Because done is the enemy, or perfection is the enemy of done. Where I see a lot of people get caught up is they're so particular about their brand that they forget that when people pick up our postcards, most of the time they're like, "Oh, Don sent me a postcard. Cool." They don't look at the font, like they don't start judging like, "Hey, how do I judge Don based on this?" And so like where we get stuck is, how do I create 12 postcards? Pick 12, rinse and repeat, do them every 12 months, automate it, move on. Move on. And Don, you're one of the 5 people on my video screen. So it's you and
I like
Trevor.
it.
You and Trevor, you're about to get, and then Tom, we're in there. And weekly small batch of check-in text to stay top of mind. Okay, you can automate your text messages. I'll talk to you about some little tips and techniques so that they start out compliant and legal, and then they look authentic and not automated, because we want our touches to look personal, right? That's one of our problems with automation. I don't want them to think I'm automating. I want them to think I'm personally touching it. Everything I build is, how do we make it look like we personally did the work, but we didn't do it, right? We want to, automation was cool when it first came out. Now, if it's not done right, it just pushes people away. Quarterly clients and friends and events invites to deepen the connections. If you're involved in a charity, if you're involved in different things, different events, invite people to them, get belly to belly. You've got to be able to scale the relationships, because soon enough your business gets so big, you just don't have enough time to do coffee dates and Popeyes. If you're trying to do 50, 100 deals, it's just not doable. The system decides the touch. You just show up and love on the people. Everything I do is built to bring things to me so that when I'm in my space, I can interact with numerous people, and I just get to show up and love on people versus get bogged down by all the tasks. The lead nurture machine, this is one of the things that, like, you guys have probably felt it before. You're scrolling down social media and somebody love, and trust, that you assumed would never forget that you're in real estate, and, they'd buy a house with somebody else, and you're like, what? And the truth is, you didn't get ghosted. We disappeared first. We disappeared. We didn't call them for a year. We didn't call them for 2 years. We looked at their number 5, 6, 7 times. I was like, ooh, it's awkward. I haven't talked to her in a long time. I don't want to feel salesy. We disappeared first, and somebody else capitalized on the opportunity. And here's the thing. I am a big lead nurture guy. 90% of my sales when I was in real estate was all outbound new relationships. But today's panic closing always beats tomorrow's pipeline. If you're on the decision box, and it's figure out what's going on with this escrow that's supposed to close tomorrow, while your people are in moving boxes and panicking, versus, ooh, I was supposed to call Tanya last week, it's just never going to get done. Nurture is the money between the hand raised and the ready now. Okay, what we want to build is, we want to build a system that does all the low-level stuff that gets ignored 95% of the time, but if we don't do it, they never talk to us, and make our systems identify their behavior so that we're only working with the cream of the top. The cream rises to the top. Okay, the 30-day nurture ladder, okay, this is all leads, goes into a 1-year rhythm, calls and texts and emails and social. When I work with clients, the first thing I always want to build is your 1-year nurture plan. It's 10 to 15 emails of who you are. If you're a believer and that's a foundational piece of your life, great. If you're a charity person, if you're a hockey player, if you're like, whatever it is that you're passionate about personally, your life experience, if you're a coach, if you're a mentor, your wisdom, your ahas, your stuff that are valuable to people, that just say, wow, this person is a good human being. There's 10 to 15 emails. And we use chat and Claude and all those things to really make sure they're written in story mode and the metrics, and you build those out. Then you take 5 of your best AHA buyer emails, your 5 of your best AHA seller emails, and it could be something as simply as why being fully approved or fully underwritten is better than just a pre-qualification, and what the power of removing a loan contingency is because you've already done your full underwriting approval prior to making an offer, what the impact of it. That could be, it's the questions that we get all the time. You build that out, you space it out every 2 weeks, and now you've got 1 year that can work for new leads, it can work for old leads, it can work for sphere of influence, it can work for open houses. That's the first one that we build out. Okay. And it's just relentlessly optimized for speed, meaning when they inquire or when they engage, it just keeps going with the frequency. And the outcome is that you're constantly getting people to open and digest your content. You automate the follow-up, you humanize the connection. The follow-up's automated, the call at the right time when their behavior indicates life-changing events that lead to a change in housing. The connection is personal based on the follow-up. Okay, the content and distribution machine. Most agents, I mean, the amount of realtors that have, and by the way, I know this is a Facebook thing, but it's just kind of funny of like how many people are like, oh, I'm a content creator. And it's like, no, we're real estate agents, right? We're real estate agents. And there's like 1 or 2 real estate agents that are like really influencers, and they happen to be on TV shows that get viewed 100 and something million times. We're not trying to be influencers. We don't need to be viral. We just need to be visible. We just need to be visible. And keep this in mind because I had a big social media fear. I don't like it. I don't like talking about me. I don't like sharing success of what's going on because my heart breaks for the people that struggle in this world. And I know that I've been blessed with some amazing things. And so I don't want to create envy. I don't want to create jealousy. And that was my personal hill to overcome. But here's the reality. People are addicted to their phones, and people spend 2 to 4 hours a day, every day, scrolling. And they can't help but go back to it and check it. We want to be in a target-rich environment. Okay. If I had a choice to go to an open house or go to a mall and start talking about real estate, I want to go to the open house every time because everybody's there with the purpose of talking real estate. If I go to the mall, I'm not in that target-rich environment. I want to go where my customers are. Ryan Serhant said this when he first started his business. He literally went and worked for like 10 hours a week or something for free at this gym that charged $400 a month. Because what kind of people go to a gym that costs $400 a month? Affluent people. If he wanted to get into luxury and build it, he had to be where his customers are. We have to show up where they are, and they're on social. And they're on it more than they check their mailbox. I mean, sometimes I don't check my mailbox for like 8 days. All my bills are electronic. Like I've checked my mail when there's a USPS package. Like my kids order Pokemon cards and I got to get them out of the box. Like, right? Like we're just not checking that stuff. It's not the same. Okay. Here's the big thing that I noticed, and whether it's systems, if you guys look at me at social, you'll see there was a window of my life where every Saturday from 6 a.m. to 11 or 1 o'clock p.m., literally 6 a.m., me walking in and I was recording it and documenting it, walking into my office with a dark parking lot. My car's the only one in the parking lot. I'm like, it's System Saturday. And everybody's like, what the heck is he doing? There's working in the business and on the business. And what I realized, we all try to, what I noticed so many times is, and I also stole this from Ryan Serhant. He said the one thing he would have done differently from when he started his business, he would have spent one whole day on systems. Now, as real estate agents, we're like, well, I don't even know what I would build, or like one whole day. Like I got too much stuff going on. I was one of those people that like, if somebody older, wiser, and further ahead of me in life was telling me, slow down and spend time with your kids because you'll never regret that time, or you'll never get that time back, or go. I'm like, if they're telling me, I wish I would have listened to my elders. If everybody's saying the same thing, I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh man, I should have done that. I missed the advice. And so when Ryan Serhant said that, I was like, okay, I'm gonna do System Saturday. Time block your difficult activities and give yourself space. So for example, if you're not great with video, don't schedule 15 minutes to like learn how to do video, record the video, edit the video, put the video in. Because in 15 minutes, you're just dropping all the baggage from your last task. You're not in creative mode. You're not in reflection mode. And even so, when you're new at this skill, you're not going to be good at it, right? So everything's going to take 5 times as long. My wife sometimes tries new recipes. We're in that momentum where every week we eat the same meals. And so she's like, I'm going to try to spice up the meal, which is always challenging because we got 2 picky kids and I'm just as picky. And like we try new foods. The recipes never take as long as they say they're going to take. You can make this in 20 minutes, 45 minutes later, she's still chopping stuff up, right? Like, because we just don't have the system down. And so in the beginning, I would schedule 5 hours, and I might have gotten something done that now takes me like 45 minutes, and I barely got it done in 4 or 5 hours because I was just learning the recipe. And I am impatient. I am impatient. I want stuff now. I'm like that girl from Willy Wonka. I want it right now, Daddy. Like, and so it was really painful in the beginning. And then what happens is you build and you build and you get better and you get better and you get better, right? Look back on your career, 2 deals in escrow, and you were like, oh my gosh, I'm panicking. Now you're like, 2 deals, I feel bored. Why? You just know the process, you know the system, you know how to set the expectations. Recording video and systems, time block it. Why did I choose 6 a.m.? Because one, nobody was going to call me at 6 a.m. Like it was very easy to protect the time. And they're like, man, did you really do that? Yeah. Yeah, because I wanted the result and the reward. And so I was willing to make the compromise and sacrifice, right? Once we have like a few shorts, and by the way, like, well, I'm stuck on content. Where I started was like, and this is how I build systems now, guys. So many times people focus on systems. And what I say is, look at the manual tasks that you do a million times over. So like every time I talk to a new buyer, every time I talk to a new seller, they'd ask me the same questions. Like, where's the best place to get a deal in San Diego? And so I made a video. Hey, if you're looking to get a great deal in San Diego, here's the top 3 areas. And then that became an email. That became a marketing piece so that when I was on the phone with people and they're like, hey, where do I get a great deal? I was like, oh, I just built some content on that. I'm going to send it to you. And then I automated it as the first piece that I put with all my buyer leads, right? Because everybody has that question, or
Yeah, I love that. Hey, Don, you have a question. I'd love to hear her comment.
Well, yeah, I want to just reinforce what Josh is saying. Google did a study on this content equation, and Josh is talking about putting together different systems to reach people in a variety of ways. And that's precisely what Google came to understand, is that in order to take somebody from a cold contact or initial contact to a trusted relationship, it requires 7 hours of them consuming your content. So that could be YouTube videos or could be greeting you at an open house, 11 different interactions over 4 different channels. So what I'm thinking of when Josh is saying this is, maybe on that Saturday, choose one channel to build a system for that's going to achieve a part of that equation. But that's what you guys are up against, is we've got to take these people from, it could be an internet lead even, all the way through to being their real estate resource and their realtor of choice. It's 7 hours, 11 interactions, 4 channels.
yeah.
And,
Great
and
stuff.
I love the concept that you're sharing, Josh, of, what are people asking you? Well, then now that becomes your next video. It also becomes systematized in your follow-up system for the emails and the text. You know what I mean? I love that
Yep.
concept. Is that there's your content.
So where this shows up, and this is really powerful for team leaders, right? One of the biggest reasons why people don't build teams is they'll say, I don't want to herd cats, right? Or I don't want to answer a million questions a day. So like I would have agents that would join our team or join our company and they're like, "Can you train me on Mojo?" And so rather than train the person on Mojo and then the next person I train them on Mojo and the next person I train them on Mojo and the next person, I said, "Great. Let's hop in a Zoom meeting, me and you, and I will literally walk you through this training." And I walked them through, I recorded it. Now that's a piece of content. And now every time somebody says, "Hey Josh, can I get 90 minutes?" And by the way, they never look at your most available free time where you just have nothing going on. They're like, "Hey, I know you got this going on in 6 seconds. Can you give me a 90-minute training in 6 seconds that I can digest and really use?" And we giggle about it, right, a little bit because we're like, we know that moment. And so in that moment, we're pulled. We're like, I want to give great service, but I don't want to tell them no. And so I built the video, and now it's like, hey, fantastic. I've got this walkthrough. If you can watch a video, you'll get 90 minutes of power. You can skip through it. I've got a script with it. It's all good. Call me back if you have any questions. And they never call me back because they got the value and it bought me back my time. Automation handles the boring, repeatable tasks like training Mojo. I'm so excited to talk about vision and business and this stuff. Training Mojo, the first time it was cool. I'm like, oh, I'm training Mojo. After the 10th time, you're like, this is boring. And nobody trained me on it, right? So we then can get some bitterness and resentment. We send emails out to clients, they don't respond. It has to go out. We can replace that boring stuff that we just have to do that isn't exciting and make sure it gets done. And it doesn't replace the caring or the conversations, right? One of the mistakes I see people make is they think that there's this system that'll automatically take a cold person to a I want to buy with you, and they don't have to actually, like, it's just going to magically put the money in their bank account. The system automates the boring stuff so that when we get to the conversation, we can care. And the goal is to free our minds up so we can actually show up fully. If you show up to a buyer consultation and all you can think about is the 30 emails you got to write after that could be automated, that should have gone out 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours ago, I don't, I would challenge you're not fully present. And now we're not serving the people that need us the most. So, I really highlight the automations are really what will take us from the random follow-ups, the inconsistent contact, the always reacting to we've got our calendar blocked by our three pillars, right? We're focused on our sphere of influence system. We're focused on our nurture system, and we're focused on our content system. And now we're managing workflows that have reminders and workflows that are firing without us even thinking. Like right now, I have hundreds of leads that are getting timely, relevant, authentic follow-up that people will come in, they're like, I just got a lead. I don't even know who they are, and they're ready to talk to me. Great, call that person, right? Like, and it goes on while we're at the beach, we're with our friends, we're with our kids, we're on vacation, and it allows us to live in the conversations, not the to-do lists.
So, Josh, just a quick question. We have a question in the chat. What specifically do you mean by channels? Are you talking like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, that kind of channel, or is it channels within those?
Channels within the business. So like if you're doing if you're open houses, right? Like some agents, hey, I'm expired, I'm canceled, I'm FISBO, I'm open houses, I'm door knocking, I'm all sphere of influence. I do YouTube, Facebook advertising, I do Google, I do Zillow, whatever it is, that to me is a channel because that consumer, they usually start in a very similar place. They usually have similar questions. They're in the same timeline, and you can build out relevant automated follow-up because we know, right? We know that with internet leads, 5% of them are looking to buy soon. 80% of them are looking to buy between 3 months and 18 months, and the 20% are garbage, right? So, I really start to break that down. Like, man, 20% of the time I'm following up with leads, they're trash. So that I can cut that out. I got to follow up with them though, because I don't know who they are in the first few minutes, right? And the people that are, from 3 months to 18 months, their activity is going to indicate their interest. But it's really, really hard because buyers don't get completely transparent with us. So they don't say, hey, I want to buy a home on September 22nd, 2026, and don't follow up with me once, and I promise I'll stay loyal to you. Right. Like that's not how it works. Because if it was, it'd be easy. But, and life changes, right? The same thing that were driving real estate decisions 50, 80, 100 years ago are the same thing they're driving real estate decisions today. More income, new job, passing away of somebody, they come into some money, children, kids getting bigger, right? Job relocation, it's the same, divorce, like these are the same things. And so watch their activity on the sites, watch their activity with your systems, and their behavior will say this is becoming a priority. I use the example of like car sales, right? Like when you have this idea that you want to get a new car, you might be 6 months out, 12 months out. You check a website or two, maybe visit CarMax. When you're about a month out from buying, man, you've got all the sites going, you're checking daily, right? Like the activity spikes, and home buying is not that much different. They start out with an open house. Now all of a sudden they're going out on the weekends every weekend. They're looking at every single listing and email you send them. They're responding to all the emails. Like their activity spikes. And the cool thing is whether you're on Follow Up Boss, Lofty, KB Core, Commissions Inc., they all have the ability to say, like, this isn't secret sauce anymore. They all have the ability to be like, hey, give me the alerts of the people that are using my system the most. And what happens is you go from being the overworked agent that's, doing 15 to 40 deals, you install these automated rhythms for your sphere and leads, you get more GCI while working the same exact hours or fewer. And, the plateaued producer or the team leader that is trying to scale, well, when you do this, it becomes actually your recruiting items, right? Because when you show people that you've got these systems that every single coach, guru, brokerage is saying you have to have, but when you physically can show them, look at my CRM, look at what this does for you. It becomes the shiny object that captures their attention, because we do live in a shiny object world when it comes to real estate and marketing. And at the same time, it also allows you to replace yourself on some of the minuscule tasks that your agents just aren't going to do the same way that you did. Otherwise, they would be building the team. Their production would be higher. When we build systems, we do it on two different things. One, if it forces people to think, it's not good enough. And two, if it requires them to do all the work, it's not going to work. Nothing here is like theory. It's just stuff that we're using now. It's boring work that we force to automatically happen. Not too bad. I only was 3 minutes over. That's like a win for me.
That was great, Josh.
As my kids would say, Dad, you talk a lot, and when you do, it makes me boring. I was like, do you mean I bore you? Yeah, that's it. Oh, thanks. That was my 4-year-old. So I talked to Tom and everybody, and so I said, hey, I've built out some automated systems, and I've got my teams. I've got different playbooks, and so when you're looking at this, if you're digesting this information of like how much clearer do you want to feel on what you need, there's like a 1 to 10. Like if you're like, then that might not be your thing. But if you're like a 7 or above, I've got a good relationship with Tom, and anything I can do to help him is helping everybody in his space. And so there's two things that I put together that I'm going on a mission trip in 2 weeks, and it's for 2 weeks to help grow the ministry in the south of Paris. It's about 45 minutes out of Paris, and it's France. And I'm going there to help launch a church.
Love
And
it.
Come
so
on.
if anybody wants to donate to the cause, I'll give you guys the link so you could share it. But if anybody wants to donate, I'll give you guys about $1,000 worth of like my systems and and they're all white label stuff, so you can literally copy it. And it's for open houses, it's for our sphere of influence, stuff that I've sold for thousands of dollars, that I've just got in there, and you can download it, you can do it. And no minimum on the donation or just something. Of course, it's tax deductible, all that good stuff. And we'll send you our 4 best playbooks and scripts. I'll shoot the chat in. And then, on the flip side, if you guys want to get together with Tom and you guys want to do an analysis, I've got an availability to say, hey, me and my team, we can sit down with you and go, hey, this is your bottleneck that you're facing right now. And Tom can work with you through that of like, Alex Hormozy says, as business owners, we're always trying to solve 4 or 5 different problems at once, but we usually have one problem that's causing us the most pain. So if you're doing open houses and the only thing you do is call them once or twice after the open house and you're creating all these leads and then they're just dropping off and you're doing 25, 30 open houses and you're not a year and you're not getting 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 deals, well, then maybe the nurture up follow-up system is the biggest thing. If you're running your sphere of influence, you got 300 people in your sphere of influence, but they're not getting automated text messages. They're not getting content. They're not getting postcards. They're not getting emails. They're not getting connections on those multiple platforms like Don was talking about. Then that's probably the one you got to work on. And you start by just knocking out one. And before you know it, they start to have synergy to where, guess what? The nurturing system that I built for my sphere of influence, it's literally the thing that automates 10 days after the Zillow leads end. Because in the beginning of a Zillow lead, I'm a hardcore call them, email them, text them, convert them. 70% of all the conversions come there. And then guess what? My sphere of influence automatic 1-year nurture plan just kicks in. And they start to just build and build and build.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Josh,
throw the link in the chat.
thank you so much. I'd love it if everybody on the call could commit to automating something. Um, and I love the heightened conversation, Josh, of like what it could be in your sphere or where you bottleneck the most. What is your main channel of business and what is where you bottleneck. But if anybody has any questions on what they could automate, I'd love to get some feedback here and see what Josh could help you while we've got about I don't know what 6 more minutes.
Yeah, I've got some time to hang out. I carved out an hour, so uh, more than happy to help people kind of walk through, roadblocks in their head, why they know they need to do it, but just for some reason they can't get it done, what's stopping them, or if somebody wants to talk about some challenges and get some feedback there.
Yeah, and thanks for that link, you guys. I love it. I think that's great. Now, for me, I think where I'm bottlenecked is getting my email nurture out consistently to my database.
Okay. Question, when you say get the email out, are these already emails that have written that you're proud of, that you feel like have been crafted and resonate with you? Or each time you go to send an email, you think to yourself, what am I going to send today?
Well, it's more of a newsletter type, information on real estate, maybe what's happening in the market update. It could be an interesting article, like crafting that maybe weekly email or monthly email or quarterly email is where I'm bottlenecked.
Okay. Are you using AI currently?
Yes.
Okay. And how much of that creation is being done through that?
I mean, it's definitely sped up the process. I just don't get it done.
Okay. And do you have anybody in your organization that helps you, like a assistant or a VA or anything like that?
Nope.
Okay. Why haven't you hired somebody to do that?
Good question. Good question.
So it just comes back to this, right? Is like um, what we found is if you have 250 to 300 phone, email, name, and home address, and you're regularly nurturing them on multiple channels, and you're regularly getting them content, you can do anywhere from 15 to 24 deals depending on the maturity of that database. So if those 300 people are people you've done transactions with, you most certainly can be doing 12, 15, 25, or even more. And so if you're not there, then the question becomes, okay, what's the cost of not doing it? And then it goes to, okay, create an outline, right? So I'll give you an example. Like when I was doing client gifts, oh my gosh, it was the worst. Like my dad was an old-fashioned Italian. You got to spend time with him by working with him. That was it. Like I always used to be like, Dad, why can't we ever hang out and do something other than work? And it was like, that was work. So I'm a little bit the same way of like that, like lovey feely. I want to give them a gift that makes them feel special. I want to do that. but every time it just didn't get done. And so I just picked Cutco knives because Cutco, I could just boom, it's awesome. It goes out, it's systematic. Okay, the market update. What are the three pieces in your market update? Or what are the three pieces in your newsletter? What's the three pieces that you're going to pick to anchor that? Okay, and then you go, okay, well, I'm going to do a market update. Okay, well, where are you pulling the data? Okay, well then like this is the really really cool thing about AI is you can literally say, hey, I want to create a system around a newsletter. I am a real estate agent in XYZ city. I do XYZ thing. This is who I am, and I want to have three pillars that are valuable, relevant, that don't sound salesy or cheesy. And I need to create a system that I can hand to a VA to put this together to me, and it'll work back with you. And then when you get to the point where you have those three anchors, you can say, fantastic, now give me an SOP, standard operating procedure document, to hand to a VA so they know exactly how to do this.
Love it.
One of
I
the things that has been a massive help with AI to me is like I was really bad at hiring assistants because I'm so big picture that I forget to do the minor stuff. And so I'd explain a project to somebody, then they wouldn't do it right. And I'm like, you didn't do it right. And then they'd say, well, I didn't understand. And I'm like, okay, it's my fault. I don't know how to communicate. And now AI goes, give me a one-page document that's crystal clear in a technical writing format that I can give to them, and they read it and they go, cool, I know exactly what you want. They agree to a price based on the work, and it keeps the cost compact so it doesn't inflate and there's no questions. And then they can just build it out. And then you're like, cool, I need this project done every month and I need it done 4 days in advance, and I need you to put it in my email database and send the thing. And now you're spending 12, $15 a month and it gets done every month.
love it. Wow, that's awesome. We've got a couple other comments.
Real quick, Jackie, last but not least, carve out 4 hours. I know that sounds like a lot of time. Carve out 4 hours and just make it the goal to build that out. And if it takes you all 4 hours, so what? It'll be the best use of your time. And then what'll happen is you're like, oh, that was way easier than I thought. I made a mountain out of a molehill. And that's it.
I love it. Got a couple comments here. Daniel says he's used Perplexity Computer the past month or so. I love that. Thanks so much, Daniel. That's great. Perplexity Computer. Also, Michelle mentioned she needs help cleaning up and adding her contacts and create her newsletter.
Yep. So, Michelle, I need help cleaning up and adding my contacts and creating my newsletter. I've had a hard time hiring some because the recommendation I received VA wasn't great with communication and savvy with bullet trail. Great. So, same thing, right? Like there are so many articles of help on all of these CRMs because all these CRMs are trying to get agents not to call them for support. So they create all these documents of support, which that means all the AI learning models have access to these documents. So you can literally say, hey, the same way I just gave it to Jackie, you can tell it, hey, I'm using Bold Trail KV Core. I need an SOP to write out how to add contacts, and I want it to do this, this, and this, and this. And it'll give you the SOP for it. The problem that we have with VAs oftentimes is that the communication isn't great, and we're also not crystal clear on it. We're not great technical writers. I took one of the few college courses that I took before I quit was like technical writing. I thought it was the most boring thing ever. And then I realized, wow, I actually might need this in 20 years. But you have to just break it down. So it's like, click on this, click on this, click on this. I'll give you an example of like, does anybody want to see some of like the systems and the SOPs I write? Would that
Yes.
be
Sure.
valuable? Because I'll give you an example of like how granular I get. Where let's go here and let's go open house playbook. All right, let me share this. All right, so here's what I do. Let me get back to the Zoom button. Where'd it go? Zoom AI companion. There we go. Zoom, share screen, more. Sorry about that, guys. 1 second. Here we go. Share. AI companion, share, open house. You guys can see this, right?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So in chapter 2 of the open house playbook, and this is part of what I said, hey, if you guys donate, I'll give you all this stuff and you can literally just copy, like remove the logo and stuff. I mean, I literally like, hey, after you get an open house, if you want to get the most traffic, first thing you want to do is confirm that it's advertised on the MLS from within 24 hours from the agent. I've done open houses where you're like, what the heck is going on with this traffic? And then you look online, you're like, oh, I forgot to put it online. That duh, right? And so you got to put that, set it up in the open house Lofty app. And then I click a video of exactly how to set it up. And it's literally me walking people through. Why? Because they're going to ask me a question. And it's literally me walking them through the document and through this. So when you say I'm having trouble with the communication, right? And then we go back to screen 3, get a list of the homeowners, reach out to Juliet Title, upload the list through Mojo. Here's your script for open house circle prospecting. Print out the CMA. There's videos on my YouTube of how to do CMAs. Are you bringing water? Map out everything's written down of like the critical activities. So if you follow this list, the same thing is true. Like when you're having trouble, do it one time. Write down each one of your steps or use AI to do it, and then take a video of you doing it and explaining it so that you give it to them as a reference. So that way, when they're messaging you and they're like, hey, I didn't understand how to put this together, or, okay, what part of the video are you stuck on? Right? What part of the checklist are you stuck on? Okay, let's talk about that. And you can hold them accountable to it. The beauty, one of the most powerful things with AI is what used to take me 2 hours to do that, I can do it in a few minutes now.
Hmm.
Think of your AI. So Michelle, when you're talking to AI, like you can walk into the conversation uneducated. So like when I was like, you know what, I'm tired of hiring all these people that are Facebook gurus for lead generation. I'm tired of doing all that and paying all this money. I'm just gonna learn how to do it. And so I literally just started talking to chat. Hey, I'm a beginner. I don't know anything about running Facebook ads. Like I know how to generate, I know how to get the leads, I know how to, but I don't know the technical stuff. And it's like, hey, do this, do this. And hey, what questions do you have? And you can just like the same way you're saying to us, hey, I need help doing that. You could actually take that and put that in as a prompt. And then it'll come back and say stuff. And you'll say, well, I'm confused here. And it'll elaborate. You can literally just use it as a soundboard. And the cool part is it minimizes the space where we get stuck into just another question, if that makes sense. It's so liberating.
Awesome. This is good stuff. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Josh. And so next week, I just want to announce real quick, we've got the legendary Coach Michael Burt, and he's the guy that Grant Cardone goes to and top industry leaders to activate their prey drive, to instinctually, that's a word, to pursue their goals. So, hey, thank you so much, Josh. We really appreciate you. Hey, let's all jump in and donate. That's just an awesome ministry mission. Be safe over there. So now y'all get your inspiration. Time to put in the perspiration. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Jackie. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. Be well.
Gosh.